vehicles. So I didn't realise how onerous it was, the system prior to register these off-roaders, and it was leading to a lot of people getting frustrated and maybe not taking part at all. Being welcomed today by the Motor Trade Association of Western Australia, the CEO is Neil Lefebvre. G'day, Neil.
G'day, Jamie. How are you?
Yeah, good. Sometimes it takes a while to catch up with technology. You surprised it's taken this long to be able to register an off-road vehicle online?
No, look, I'm glad we've got there. So this is something the MTA has been campaigning for a number of years, and it surprised me as well. So obviously, you and I take for granted being able to register our cars automatically online, or having a dealer register it in the first place, and we update our registrations. But for off-road vehicles, and those specifically, they're typically your off-road motorbikes, your quad bikes, your ATVs. Those haven't had an online system, and in fact, you've had to physically go to a licensing centre to register it, not just initially, but to renew your licence on an annual basis. So it's been a bit of an impediment to people doing that, and it's therefore great to see that we're taking a good step forward and getting it online.
Yeah, what's been the fallout, I suppose, of this of the model lagging behind the technology a little bit?
Yeah, well, it's really interesting. When you dig into the data that sits behind it, we've got about 125,000 motorbikes, we believe, on the roads in WA. And I say we believe because as we've surveyed our members, so there's about 60 motorbike dealers around the state. Data tells us that about 60% of all motorbike sales are actually off-road motorbikes.
Right.
So those are not historically getting captured at the point of sale with a dealer, and we're relying on individuals to go and do the right thing and pop down to their licensing centre to get a licence. So even if they do that in the first place, year after year, it's probably one of those things that's been a real barrier to do. So just getting the volume, or making it easier to get all of these vehicles registered on an ongoing basis is, first of all, fantastic. But the key output is the registration fees are going into a dedicated off-road fund that is run by the government. So this is a fund a bit like when you pay your car licence and you know money's going towards maintaining the roads. For off-road vehicles, this is going towards maintaining those off-road vehicle areas to make it great for the people who recreationally use them.
Okay, so it's going to a cause that will benefit those utilising it. Do you anticipate that over time we're going to start to see a real increase in registrations of these off-road vehicles?
Yeah, look, I do. I think first step is it's been made far easier. So again, for all those people who want to do the right thing, they want to be registered, as much as anything, having your motorbike registered. If it gets nicked, makes it a lot easier to get tracked down. So having that in play is a positive first step. What we then hope to do, and we're going to carry on working with the government towards, is we'd love to see that next step of in taking this technology into the dealer online system as well. So enabling the dealer to actually register the motorbike at the point of sale as well. So each time a new bike comes in, would be automatically registered, as you do with your car, and make it easier for people to then keep on doing the right thing.
Do you have a timeline on that?
No timeline at present. I'm not in charge of the IT for Department of Transport, and I know it's one of those many big tasks. But you would like to think, having got this core system up and running, and this is something that the act around this has been largely unchanged since the 70s. So getting this up and in play is that first big step. So I'd like to think in the coming years, this is something that we could progress to as well.
Okay. We were talking about off-road vehicles in the office today, and we got to four-wheelers and those types, and consensus was that is the new jet ski. Is that how you guys see it at the Motor Trade Association as well? Is there any evidence of that?
No, not data I've seen coming through.
Okay.
I know there's been a lot of growth in this as a recreation area.
Yeah.
And as we talk to our members, it's there's a lot of outdoor activities that are going on. great way for families to get together and enjoy the outdoors as well. And I think probably one of those things we're seeing, and often when we talk, Jamie, we're always talking about electrification of the auto industry. You're seeing those off-road motorbikes suddenly get a little bit more tempting for somebody like me who wouldn't know how to change gears on an off-road motorbike to go to an electric version. So that's probably introducing a whole range of people into this who might not have considered it before.
All right, get the leathers out, Neil, okay? Really, really good to have a chat to you today. Thanks so much, and we'll touch base again soon.
Pleasure. Thanks,
All right. Neil Febvre there. He's the CEO of the Motor Trade Association of Western Australia. Had him in the studio after a trip to China where a lot of that new technology was on offer. It was a really good chat.
So if you live in rural or remote Western Australia and you rely on quad bikes or all-terrain vehicles to run your farm or business, there's some good news because from today, it should be a bit easier for you to get those vehicles registered. Neil Febvre is the CEO of the Motor Trades Association of WA and is joining us to talk about this. Hi, Neil.
Hi there, Geraldine. How are you?
Really good, except that I just want to make sure, can you tell me how you say your last name? Because we've been debating it in the office.
Hey, you've done a pretty great job. It's Lefebvre.
Lefebvre. So it's okay. Anyway, won't go there. But so can you just remind us which vehicles need to be registered?
Yeah, so this is about your off-road vehicles, so off-road motorbikes, quad bikes, those all-terrain vehicles that you would typically go and purchase from normally a motorcycle dealer somewhere around WA.
Okay. And from today, I understand that registration process is set to be a bit easier because it's been moved online.
Yeah, correct. So, I mean, for people who are using those out in their own private property, you're able to ride those without registration. But obviously a lot of people are purchasing these to go and use in designated off-road vehicle areas. And for that, you have to have a registration.
So, sorry, go on.
Sorry, I was about to say the biggest challenge has been that's always been a physical process you have to do. So physically going into a licensing centre to register your vehicle, not just initially when you purchase it, but to renew that on an annual basis. So there's been a pretty big barrier to making it easy for people to do that.
That must have been a giant pain for people in regional and remote WA.
Yeah, look, and I think that plays out in the data, or probably the lack of data that you see around this. So when we've talked to our members, we understand about 60% of all motorcycles sold in WA and actually nationally are off-road vehicles. So when you've got a system where you're probably not making it easy and therefore potentially a lot of people who aren't out there and registering their vehicles, you're missing a big chunk of data.
And there's also now an option, I understand, to be issued with a registration sticker for the vehicle instead of plates.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's part of what we've been campaigning for. So, the simplicity of having a sticker to stick on one of these off-road vehicles. If you think about the terrain you're in, rather than having a number plate that sticks out as a potentially a safety hazard if you fall off, having the stickers makes it a lot easier to do.
You said that this was amongst a suite of things that you've been campaigning on to put to the state government. What are the other reforms you're hoping to see?
Yeah, I mean, specifically around this, the first move was to move to an online system to make it easier for people to make their payments and keep on making their payments. The second component that we're continuing to lobby for, obviously, is moving that from the .direct system that everyone can access to moving it to the dealer online system as well. So actually at the point of sale, making it really easy for the dealer, as you would if you're going into a car yard and buying a car, to be able to get you registered on the spot and that process through for you and set up automatically.
And how
so currently we're still relying on individuals to want to go and register their vehicles.
Neil, how confident are you that that change will be made?
Look, the latter change, it's great to have got this first step on the way and getting the technology in the system. I'm not a CIO, and I know CIOs will always tell you it's hard, but you love to think when it's in the system already, the next step should be an easy step as well.
We've just had a question from Courtney saying, what about tractors?
That is a great question.
Is that a question that you will need to go and do some homework on?
It probably is, because obviously a tractor would be off on private land on a farm, but typically you and I have probably been stuck behind a tractor from time to time on a public road. So I would suggest if they're out on a public road, they're going to need to be properly licensed.
So these changes make it easier to register off-road vehicles, but is enough being done to check over the condition and safety of them year on year?
Look, it's separated from a review, like an MOT you have in the UK of the vehicle. This is more about knowing what's out on the road. It supports in being able to track things like theft for the vehicles, if there's any illegal use of the vehicles, being able to track that. And something else that has changed in the process that has come through from government here has been some changes to the legislation that's existed since 1978 around infringement notices as well. So typically, until now, if you were caught, and probably unlikely you were going to be caught, but if you were caught out on a off-road vehicle in the middle of nowhere, your infringement notice could be $50. That's now been extended to $500, and there's also, for any court-imposed issues, that's gone up from $1,000 to $5,000. So there's a bit of a carrot and stick here. The stick is obviously around fee or charges that can be imposed, infringement notices that can be imposed. But the real carrot here for the consumers who are out there, and especially those people who are going to designated off-road vehicle areas, all of the funds that are being generated through this process go into a dedicated fund for maintaining these off-road vehicle areas. So for the local governments and DBCA and people who are maintaining these areas, it's now creating this fund that can continue to develop them and keep them there for the enjoyment of everybody involved.
And just finally and briefly, Neil, we know that off-road vehicles are represented in serious accidents. Could we be doing more to increase the safety for the riders and the drivers?
Look, certainly for safety, I know that WorkSafe has been doing a lot of work historically around quad bikes, and quad bikes are known for their issues in rollover accidents. And we certainly always advocate, as do our motorcycle dealers, for people to be doing the right level of training and skills and qualification when they're using these things. The off-road vehicles specifically are there for pleasure and fun for the people using it. And it's always best to ensure you know how to handle a vehicle responsibly and safely.
And just back on the tractors for a sec, Courtney, who sent in that question about them, said that she uses it to tow her boat from her beach shack, and Freo Cookster said in Lancelin many people do that. Okay, well, if it's on a road, it would suggest it needs to be licensed. Okay. All right. Thank you very much for sharing your knowledge with us today, Neil. We'll look forward to seeing if all of your recommendations come off. Thanks very much, Geraldine.